Hi everyone, today we're going to do the upper roof trusses and detail review. I'm going to go ahead and open up FrameCAD Detailer. Now that we've added our upper floor walls, we can take a look at creating our upper roof trusses. So let's start by creating a new plan. I'm going to click the new plan button right here. I'm going to right click on new, go to properties. We're going to change this to upper roof trusses, and we're going to change the elevation. So our first floor walls are 8 feet tall, the second floor system is 1 foot 2 inches, and these second story walls are 8 feet tall. So that leaves us with 17 foot 2 inches as where our elevation is for upper roof trusses. I'm going to click OK. The next thing that I want to do is bring in the second floor walls to use that plan as a template. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this select another plan as a template button and click upper wall frames and click OK. If I zoom out, I can see now my upper floor walls. This whole plan is what we brought in from our DXF file weeks ago, and these are all just lines. These are a representation of the walls of the second floor. As you can see here, we even are showing our lines where our frames have been broken into 2 frames. Right, that's the line that divides these 2 walls here. So the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to use this as a guide, as a template. So the next tool I want to use is this one right here, Draw a Roof. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Draw a Roof. Here in my command line, it says parameters, pitch in degrees, that's the angle or the slope of the roof. This is set to 20. Eave, which is the overhang of the roof, that's set to 1 foot 5.5 inches. So these are the same settings we had used previously for our lower roof trusses. Detail is really good about remembering some of those data values that you had already input previously when you use this command. So to accept 20 degrees of pitch and 1 foot 5.5 for our eaves, just go ahead and hit enter. And then now we can go ahead and define our roof. So for the vertex location, I'm going to start right over here in this top left corner, making sure to use my toggle snap end. I'm going to click on that endpoint of the wall and click on this endpoint. And as I continue to go around to create this outline, you can see my roof starting to populate. Once I get to that last endpoint, just go ahead and hit enter. And I always like to hit escape a few times. That always makes sure that I'm done with the command and anything I may have had selected is now deselected. The next tool that we want to use is the create roof block command. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Select truss frame type. So obviously we want to use our studio trusses that we configured in the first exercise. So I'm going to click OK. And then for our roof panels, again, we want to use roof panel studio. I'm going to hit OK. In my command line, it says click corner of roof block, show property. So if you want to just look at the properties of the roof block, go ahead and hit enter. These are the properties. Make sure you update them accordingly. We should be looking at 2 foot spacing for our truss spacing, 4 foot first truncated truss, 2 feet. We'll do a truss style hip method, 2 foot for the first jack truss, panels for the gable overhang method. We'll do absolute spacing. Actually, let's do equal spacing for both. And let's click OK. In my command line, again, it still says the same thing. Click corner of roof block, or I can hit enter to show properties. So when we define roofs in FrameCAD Detailer, we are defining them as blocks or as rectangular shapes, to put it in simple terms. So this is somewhat of a complex roof for this upper floor because I've got this rectangle here, but I've also got this little rectangle down here for the porch. So this rectangle here will be what is known as a hipped roof, which means every side of this roof is sloping. And this one here is what's called a gable roof. So it slopes over here and it slopes over here, but it does not slope over here at the south end. So I'm going to define this as 2 different roofs. So For click corner of roof block, I'm going to go ahead and click down here. Again, make sure your snap end on is on, and go ahead and click on this endpoint. The second point of our roof block is going to be right here, and the third point of our roof block is going to be right here. For this last point, you want to make sure you're zoomed in close enough to see that endpoint, but also zoomed out far enough that when it asks you questions about the roof, you can answer it. And here's what I mean. So I'm going to make that third click. Now you see this big bold black line that appears down at the bottom. This is indicating this part of the command. So in the command line it says hip H, gable G, Dutch gable D, saddle S. So from here, detailer is asking me, well, what kind of a roof type is it on this side? And I'm going to say H for hip. Now what kind of roof do we have over here? I'm going to say H for hip. Give it a little moment, and voila, our trusses appear. I can go ahead and do the next roof. So I'm going to repeat that command, roof block, truss studio for the trusses, roof panel studio for the roof panels. This time I'm going to click here, here, and there. It's asking me about this one. This is called a gable. We need a gable here. We could do a hip, but the plan calls for a gable. So I'm going to say G for gable. And then this one over here, we're going to call it a saddle. It's the part of a roof that's joining into another roof. So S for saddle. And give it a little moment, and voila. So from here, what I want to do is I want to expand my upper roof trusses plan, expand roof 1. I want to take a look at all of my trusses in this project tree here. Just make sure I don't see any red X's. You have the ability to, I want you to go ahead and file export 3D VRML. I'm going to go ahead and put mine on the desktop for now. I'm going to select all, and I'm going to hit export, and then I'm going to go file view 3D, find that file. At this point, I just want to check, make sure everything looks correct, which it does, except for the floor. It looks like my floor is not built, so I need to go back and check on that. So this is looking good. There's a few things we do want to change before we finish this file. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go ahead and select R02, and we're going to use a command called, actually we're just going to go right click and properties. We want to make sure that the additional elevation is set to 0, and then we want to go to main and make sure our spacing is set to 2 feet, and make sure that our spacing type is even for both this one and for the vertical spacing type. And then just make sure you hit elevation view. If you changed anything, you might see a big red X. Go ahead and hit rebuild, and it'll ask you if you want to keep all those modified items. You can say yes, and then you'll end up with a panel like that. So let's just say that you did not have spacing set to 2 feet. Yours is probably set to 4 feet. And let's set this to absolute, set this to absolute. Let's go to elevation view, hit rebuild. This is probably what you would have started with, right? So what I'm asking you all to do is right click properties and change the settings in the main tab to 2 foot spacing, and then spacing type, set that to even. Go to elevation view, you'll see a big red X, click on rebuild, and voila, that's what we're looking for. And now I'm going to go back and fix my floors. I'm going to go to upper floor joists. These are all unbuilt, and that's probably just because I didn't save it last time I did this file. So I'm going to go ahead and hit rebuild, and I'm going to go to the next one and rebuild. Thankfully I don't have that many unique trusses or floor joists because I used a lot of clones. So I think I only have maybe 8 unique ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now I can close this window. Everything shows as built. And go File, Export 3D VRML, save it to my desktop, select all, export. And now I'm going to go File, View 3D, 2-story house. I'm going to turn this to turn mode instead of orbit. And this is what you should have. Okay, looks like I still need to fix the openings here in the front, but other than that, everything else looks good. So make sure you screenshot this if you have the ability to export to 3D, and please make sure to export your roof truss plan. Create a little screenshot for that, and we're all done with the two-story house in Detailer. All right, thanks.